I resume.
No blackout.
I resume, but not so fast. I
Curtain rises on a stage in almost complete darkness.
Yes, peace was assumed all out of the pain was infinitely incomparable. Pardon no sense in this, so I know nonetheless when assumed peace, I mean not really all of it, but as if never been.
I said to him,
get
together. I said to him, give her up. I swore by all I held most sacred.
One morning as I was sitting stitching by the open window, she burst in and flew at me. Give him up, she screamed, he's mine. Her photographs were kind to her. Seeing her now for the first time full length in the flesh, I understood why he preferred me.
We were not long together when she smelled the rat. Give up that horse, she said, or I'll cut my throat. Pardon, so help me God. I knew she could have no proof, so I said I did not know what she was talking about.
What are you talking about? I said, stitching away someone yours. Give up whom? I smell you off him, she screamed. He stinks of bitch.
Though I had him dogged for months by a first-rate man, no shadow of proof was forthcoming, and there was no denying that he continued as assiduous as ever. This and his horror of the merely platonic thing made me sometimes wonder if I were not accusing him unjustly. Yes.
What have you to complain of? I said, have I been neglecting you? How could we be together in the way we are if there was someone else? Loving her as I did with all my heart, I could not but feel sorry for her.
Fearing she was about to offer me violence, I rang for Erskine and had her shown out. Her parting words, as he could testify if he is still living and has not forgotten coming and going on the earth, letting people in, showing people out, were to the effect that she would settle my hash. I confess this did alarm me a little at the time.
She was not convinced. I might have known. I smell her off you. She kept saying there was no answer to this, so I took her in my arms and swore I could not live without her. I meant it, what is more. Yes, I'm sure I did. She did not repulse me.
Judge then of my astonishment when one fine morning, as I sat stricken in the morning room, he slunk in, fell on his knees before me, buried his face in my lap and confessed.
She put a bloodhound on me, but I had a little chat with him. He was glad of the extra money.
Why don't you get out, I said, when he started moaning about his home life. There's obviously nothing between you anymore, or is there?
I confess my first feeling was one of wonderment. What a male.
Anything between us. What do you take me for? A something machine, and of course with him no danger of the spiritual thing. Then why don't you get out, I said. I sometimes wondered if he was not living with her for her money.
The next thing was the scene between them. I can't have her crashing in here, she said, threatening to take my life. I must have looked incredulous. Ask Erskine, she said, if you don't believe me. But she threatens to take her own, I said. Not yours, she said. No, I said hers. We had fun trying to work this out.
Then I forgave him. To what will love not stoop? I suggested a little jaunt to celebrate at the Riviera or our darling Grand Canary. He was looking pale, piqued. But this was not possible just then. Professional commitments.
She came again, just strolled in all honey, licking her lips, poor thing. I was doing my nails by the open window. He has told me all about it, she said. Who he? I said, filing away. And what it? I know what torture you must be going through, she said, and I've dropped in to say I bear you no ill feeling. I rang for Erskine.
Then I got frightened. I made a clean breast of it. She was looking more and more desperate. She had a razor in her vanity bag. Adulterers take warning, never admit.
When I was satisfied it was all over, I went to have a gloat, just a common tart, what he could have found in her when he had me.
When he came again, we had it out. I felt like death. He went on about why he had to tell her too risky and so on. That meant he had gone back to her, back to that.
Pudding face, puppy spots, blubber mouth, jowls, no neck, dugs you could.
He went on and on. I could hear a mower, an old hand mower. I stopped him and said that whatever I might feel, I had no silly threats to offer, but not much stomach for her leavings either. He thought that over for a bit.
Calves like a flunky.
When I saw her again, she knew. She was looking wretched. Pardon, some fool was cutting grass. A little rush, then another. The problem was how to convince her that no revival of intimacy was involved. I couldn't. I might have known, so I took her in my arms and said I could not go on living without her. I don't believe I could have.
The only solution was to go away together. He swore we should as soon as he had put his affairs in order. In the meantime, we were to carry on as before. By that, he meant as best we could.
So he was mine again, all mine. I was happy again. I went about singing the world.
At home, all heart to heart, new leaf and bygones, bygones. I ran into your ex-doxy, she said one night on the pillow. You're well out of that. Rather uncalled for, I thought. I am indeed, sweetheart, I said. I am indeed. God, what vermin women. Thanks to you, angel, I said.
Then I began to smell her off him again, yes.
When he started coming, I was prepared, more or less.
Finally, it was all too much. I simply could no longer.
Before I could do anything, he disappeared. That meant she had won. That slut, I couldn't credit it. I lay stricken for weeks. Then I drove over to her place. It was all bolted and barred, all grey with frozen dew. On the way back, by ash and Snodland.
I simply could no longer.
I made a bundle of his things and burnt them. It was November and the bonfire was going. All night I smelt them smouldering.